everyone, welcome back. I know I've been MIA a bit this past few months, and I will explain that in a little bit. But first, check out these nails. Okay, so that hand was my practice hand. It is not perfect. Don't judge. But we are going to do some pop art comic book nails. And of course, I had to throw in a little bit of Halloween, creepiness to it. So I added some pop art blood drips, and I'm super excited to get into this. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we are going to use. I am, of course, allergic to gels, so I wanted to find a way to use products that were not gel. To get this look, a lot of the videos that I've seen bouncing around on Instagram and YouTube are all using gel products, and obviously I cannot do that. So for those of you who are like me and cannot use gel products or prefer not to, here's a non-gel way to get this look. We're going to be using an acrylic pen for the black outline. We're going to be using the red acrylic paint for the blood droplets. We're going to be using some stamping polish, and then we will top everything off with a matte dip top coat from Double Dipped, and we are going to talk about this as we go along. Right now I am dipping out my white nail using Whipped Cream Bikini from Sassy Mouth Dip Powders, and this is from the Nudie Patootie collection that came out back around summertime. So it's a really nice sheer white, so I'm going to do 3 full dips because I want my white to be a little bit more opaque. And this white is almost more like a milk, or what you would call a milk bath, a milky white. Okay, so that's why I'm doing 3 dips, but it is a very fine powder, so it does not make my nail too thick, and it's super easy to file. So yeah, it doesn't come out splotchy or blotchy or anything like that. You will see in the finished product. So the next thing that I am going to do now is I'm going to apply my red powder. This is Scarlet from West Coast Dips. It's one of my favorite reds. It is a very, very, as you can see, very pigmented red. It doesn't pour over very easily. However, despite how it looks, it actually does provide very thin layers when you pour over. So I am also going to do 3 dips of this color. I'm usually a 2 dip kind of girl, but for this mani I wanted a little bit of wiggle room with my filing because I am wearing stiletto nails again. They're a little bit shorter. I don't own short stilettos, so I took my almond and I filed them into a point, and they are the perfect length, my favorite length for stilettos. I am super happy with the way they came out. If only I could find stilettos this length, I would be super happy. They're either too long or they're way too short. This is the perfect length for me. So for now, I'll be creating them myself when I do opt for this shape. So moving on, as you can see, I have skipped over the second and third layers of Scarlet because, well, it's a bit redundant doing the same thing 3 times. I didn't think I needed to waste your time having you watch that. So we're moving on to encapsulation. I am encapsulating in clear, again, just to give myself a little bit more wiggle room, so that I can really shape and file them the way I want them and have a nice apex to boot. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to stop chatting your ear off for a few minutes, take a break, get a drink of water, stretch a little bit, and then I'll be back. And when I come back, the filing and shaping will be done, and we'll get into this nail art. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? I don't know if I'm ready. I sure wasn't at the time. So we're going to start with the drips, the blood drips, because when I did my right hand with my non-dominant hand, I learned a lesson that the blood drips need a little bit more time to dry. So we're starting with the blood drips because I go over them a couple times. It's a lot more paint, so I just want to make sure that there's enough time for that to dry before we go in with top coat and all of that. So I'm going to do the blood drips. As you saw, I started with 3 dots using my dotting tool, and now I'm just dragging the dots up toward the cuticle. And then I'm going to connect those lines together, and then I'm just going to fill in around the cuticle area. And once I've done that, then I'm going to kind of round out in between the droplets so that it looks more like the blood is oozing and dripping. Yeah, does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. You're going to watch me do it, so hopefully that will be even more self-explanatory than my ramblings. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to talk. Oh, yes, I am. I'm lying to you. I'm sorry. I am going to talk because I said earlier I was going to explain to you why I've been so absent on YouTube and Facebook and all of that. And the honest truth is I've been just busy with life in general. Mostly work. My work schedule's changed slightly. I'm working a little more than I used to for my part-time job. And that has kind of started to take a toll. I'm tired a lot. So I get home and it's dinner time, and I mean like 7:30 at night, and I've got to eat or make dinner if I haven't got it waiting for me, because, you know, my husband is great about making dinner for me, and that's really wonderful. But sometimes he's working a lot, and so, yeah. Life, right? I mean, I made the decision to work as much as I do, but unfortunately my YouTube channel and my Instagram and all of that have been suffering a bit because of it. Anyway, so there, I've explained. I'm going to try to do my best to get back on schedule. I do have, as I mentioned earlier, 4 videos, including this one, that I really want to get up before the end of the month, which is literally like Monday. So there may be a scramble to get all my voiceovers done. All my editing is done. I just need to do my voiceovers and upload everything. So I'm going to be a busy little girl this weekend. Fingers crossed I can get it all done. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And then hopefully I'll be all caught up. And yeah, so now we are into, oh, I had to zoom in for you. I wanted to get a little bit closer so you could see what I'm doing. So this is a black acrylic pen that I got a set off of Amazon. It was a white, it was a black, a gold, and a silver. And the black is really great for drawing and lines and things like that. It's very pigmented. It's not runny at all. It's perfect for this kind of nail art. And acrylic paint washes off pretty easily if you get it on your skin. So that's wonderful as well. Unfortunately, the white acrylic pen was not working so well for me. It was a bit too runny, a bit too like splotchy looking. I don't know. It didn't look good. So I opted to not use it, and I went with a white stamping polish for the white details instead, which we will get to in a few minutes. But basically what I am doing is I am using the tip of this black acrylic pen to outline my nail, which is easier said than done, I'll be honest. Finding the right angle, finding the right support for my hand, it was all very challenging. And if you think that that looks challenging on this hand, you should have seen me struggle with the other hand. It was a comedy of errors, I will tell you. Anyway, I will link in the description box all of the products that I'm using for this look, with the exception of maybe the red acrylic paint, because I got that from Target. It was $1 or something like that at Target. So you can pretty much use any red acrylic paint as long as it's a pretty good match, you know, to the dip powder you're using or what have you. I had to do a little bit of mixing because the red that I had was like a fire engine red, and it was not quite as warm as the dip powder that I'm using. So I added a tiny little droplet of purple paint, and that fixed the issue. So it's a pretty good match now. Anyway, moving on to my point. My point is, I will share the products that I used, but go ahead and feel free to look and find products that will work for you. That's all. So I am going to speed through as quickly as I can, outlining these nails. And when I am done with that, I am then going to use the black acrylic pen to also outline the blood drips, because that detail will help add to the pop art effect to this look. And then once we are done with that, we will use the white stamping polish, as I mentioned, to add the white highlight effect, which is what really lends to that. Are these real? Are they cartoon? What are they? kind of effect to these nails. And so I'll add the details to each nail, including the blood drips. So stay tuned for that. I'll be back shortly. the challenge continues. Seriously, it looks like a really simple look, and anyone who tells you that this is easy must have incredibly steady hands, and they're a contortionist. Because keeping my hand steady and finding the right angle to do all these lines, it took me a long time. I'm going to be honest. I did my right hand one night, and then the very next day I did my left hand, because by the time I got my right hand done, I was too tired and frustrated to go and do it again on my other hand, because I'm crazy and I have to have my two hands matching. Anyway, enough of that. As you can see here, I did not like that line. It was too fat and it bothered me, so I had to wipe it off and try again. It came off pretty easily with some acetone, but I did accidentally remove some of that black line, so I used the acrylic pen to fix that, and then I redid the line, and it was much better the second time. Okay, it was really like the fourth time, but I didn't show you all the times I redid it. For some reason, the thumb was giving me a lot of trouble. I don't know why, but I finally got it the way I liked it. And then it was time to add some highlights to those blood drips to make them look more pop art like. Yeah. And then it was another lesson learned not to go right in with your base coat, because the stamping polish smudges. Apparently, especially if it is not completely dry. So I went in with my smudge-free top coat from 𝕔𝕙𝕒𝕟𝕟𝕟𝕟. I let that dry totally and completely, and then I went in with my base coat. Now, the reason you wonder, I'm sure, why I didn't just go in with my top coat. Why do I need a base coat? Well, in order for your top coat to cure and dry, you need to use activator. The thing about activator is it will smudge your paint. It will make it run and it will ruin everything. So don't do that. So you need to use a base coat to protect your acrylic paint from the activator. So apply a full coverage coat of base coat. Let it dry completely. Then you can go over that with your activator, and then you can top coat. We'll talk about this top coat here in a minute. Right, now it's time for top coat, and I am going in with my regular glossy top coat for the first layer. And the reason I'm doing this is because I have heard from a bunch of different sources, too many to remember or name honestly, that the best way to get a smooth application with a matte dip top coat is to use the regular top coat for your first layer. It makes the application smoother and it dries more matte, less streaky. I'm not really sure why, but that's what I heard. So I'm trying it. This is what we're doing. So I went in with my regular dip top coat. I let that, get kind of crinkly and dry. And then I went in with my matte top coat. Now the thing about the matte top coat also is that it's better to apply a thicker layer and kind of float your brush over the nail instead of, swipe like you might with a regular top coat. Less swipes, more product, you get a more even matte look. This was all stuff that I'd heard but had not tried yet. So here I am putting it into practice, and we're going to see if this is accurate information when I return. Hot diggity dog, will you look at that? Wow. Okay, all right. I'm sold. That is a very matte finish. I am so excited that that worked. But now the true test begins, because now I'm going to get to see what the longevity is like. How long does the matte last? Does it chip? That kind of stuff. Anyway, moving on. I avoided getting cuticle oil on my nails because I was afraid I would lose the matte finish. So I'm being super careful. Anyway, what do you think of these nails? Are they pretty cool? I think they're really, really groovy and neat. Yeah, I'm just being silly. Anyway, they're pretty funky. They look like cartoon nails. I'm blown away. I love the effect. I'm super proud of myself for giving this a shot. What do you think? Are you going to give these a try? They're super trendy right now. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed, please click that subscribe button. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye now.